Okay, good afternoon, good morning, everyone, depending on where you are. We're very pleased to be here to answer questions and hopefully provide some insight into Bank on Traffic's operations and future development. I've been working with the company since its inception, and I handle a great deal of the technical aspects and the development side, as well as work and collaborate with Harry on the operations of the system. So my background is in engineering and executive management, and I've been in business for about 30 years. So Harry, our system architect and admin, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Harry?
My background is in finance, mostly with everything from the Department of Defense to private industry. I'm getting up there in age. I'm 67. I've been, other than my stint with the military and the Department of Defense, I've been on my own as a business owner and entrepreneur for probably about 30 years now. So we all know where we started with this, with a certain other company that turned the lights on for me, and I realized that there was a real market potential here. So about February of 2012, I started building this platform. So, but everybody knows what happened from that point on. We started a couple preliminary beta tests where we signed people up, and we didn't actually do any business. And we started live business in March 26th, I think it was. So I'm going to address one of the key questions here that it's on everybody's mind. And that is the timing on completion of business packs and where we're going with that and why it's where it is today, and do we expect it to go in which direction? Do we expect it to improve or get worse? That's it in a nutshell. We're basically we're looking at a reverse growth curve here. When we opened the doors, there was such a pent-up market for this that we had literally 1,000 people a day signing up and buying product, and that created a big bubble of business packs, primarily starters, but also with the rest of the packs as well. So we've been kind of looking at this where we started out so fast, and then started going down in new members and in purchases. So it's kind of a reverse curve, and now we're in a position where it's been almost 6 months now, and the curve is starting to flatten out a little bit, and maybe turn around and go in the other direction. I can see from the numbers that I look at. I keep spreadsheets on all the packs. I know where they are at any given time, and we also have admin functions that allows us to see, where each pack is in the process, in the progress. So I can see, and let me give you a couple of examples. For the month of June has been a very difficult month to get through for us because we had to sell over $1 million worth of business packs in order to complete June. Well, we haven't quite reached that yet. We're getting close, but I really see that for the next week or so, we're going to struggle with just a couple days there, June 23rd and June 24th, because there are literally 1,000 starter packs. That's $100,000. Now, we made good progress on that, and we're going to close them out pretty soon. But I can see us possibly reaching 85 days, maybe even as much as 90 days, but I don't think so. And the reason that I think that it's going to start going in the other direction soon is because as soon as we get out of June and start into July, the numbers just change so drastically. There were more starter packs in June than July and August combined. So if you can visualize that, you see the curve changing direction, because once we get into those, I mean, we have days where there are literally no starter packs. No, and we're talking about qualified dates. So there are a couple of days in July where there was only one or two for the whole day. And of course, when we shut down for the security updates and everything, that there was a couple of days there that there were no packs created. So as we move into those time frames and those days, this is going to move very quickly. Now, this is assuming, of course, that we have a similar growth or a similar purchasing of packs as we have now. If we can accelerate that, if we can grow that at a faster rate, then obviously we're going to knock these numbers down pretty quick. So that's what I see. I don't see it changing in the next few days, but I do see it changing in the next couple weeks. And I do think that we can get this down to a more reasonable time frame. I don't think we're going to get it below 60 days. I just can't see those numbers coming out. But then I could be wrong, and Joe argued with me about this because he thinks that we can, once we get these marketing tools that we're working on and stuff in play, that the growth curve will accelerate. And if it does that, then we can knock these numbers down even better than what I think they are.
I also think that a couple of kind of to take this one step further is we are in the process of development for version 2. And I think that the more time we have, the more data we put together, the more refined and the more precise the distribution cycles can be managed, and that we can automate this to a very, very large degree. I don't want to complicate the discussion too much, but we can say that it's sales driven and that the more it sells, the faster it moves, and that may be true sort of in general, very broadly speaking. But there are a number of intricate relationships involved. For example, the difference between the rate of sales or the volume of sales in terms of dollars. And those are two distinct aspects of the same thing, and those are two separate data inputs into the algorithm. And so what ultimately happens, as Harry is describing, if you have a day where you sell 5,000 traffic packs or business packs, and then you have several days where you sell substantially less, that can tend to have the reverse effect on as to the speed of the pack. So there is a curve, as Harry was talking about there. There's a curve, and there's a sweet spot on that curve. And our objective will be to keep fine-tuning this and refining it to where we stay inside that narrow window there that is sort of an optimal point. And I think that we can achieve I don't think we will get below 60 days, but I think that we can get it between 60 and 70 days on an average basis.
Right. There was one particular question that I want to address directly, because I really like this question because it really goes to the heart of the matter. And I forget who it was, but the question was basically, as we get more, he called them affiliates, as we get more members, will it be harder, and will the traffic packs or the business packs take longer to complete the more people that we have? Actually, that it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether we have 6,000 people or 60,000 people, because it's not based on the number of members that we have. It's based on the volume of sales that we generate. So I want to point out something. Sales is not just new people coming in, because every time that a pack completes, you have a repurchase option there. It's either 100% or 50% or 0%. Anything other than 0% is going to create another sale. And that sale is no different than if we put the money in your e-wallet and you took it out to your Pays or your STP account, and then you came back and you bought another pack with that, other than, of course, the fact you eliminate all the fees by not doing that. But it's still a new sale. So if we had 50 or 60,000 people and they were all buying and using the products, and Joe's going to talk about this a little bit, because we're going to we are looking at increasing our products, not just within business pack categories, but also within non-business pack categories that we can sell directly. So that will help, offset some of these negative numbers.
Well, that question was courtesy of Massimiliano. So thank you, Massimiliano, for that question.
Yeah. So yeah, I was explaining about the sales volume, where the sales actually come from. So not only is it new people signing up and new money coming in, but it's also the sales internally and the use of the product. The more we use the product, and the more sales we generate internally. That's why if you had 50 or 60,000 people, it makes no difference in whether you had 6,000 people. As long as everybody is using the product and buying more and building their business, then those numbers take care of themselves. Well, I'll give you a good example. For instance, on June 23rd, we have 585 starter packs. We're about $23,000 from finishing those packs. When we finish those packs, they will create repurchases of nearly $28,000. That was the other thing I wanted to touch on. You reminded me here, and that's the. Some people think that we don't do distributions every day. We do distributions every day. Sometimes we do as many as 3 distributions in a day, and most of the time, when you see a new pack, you have a new pack and it generates 10, 12, 15 cents, whatever it is, that's usually the second or even third distribution of the day, because what happens is as we fill up the business pack earnings and it reaches the cap, it generates another sale, sometimes 2 more sales, and that puts money back into the distribution pool, which at that point we can make another distribution, and the distribution will go through the system farther than the first distribution did. So what we basically do is we have a limit on the minimum amount that we want to go into a business pack. And when we start out at the oldest date and we work our way back to the newest date, we only go as far as that money will take us. So a lot of times if you have a new account, you're not going to see a whole lot of action. But as we get closer to those packs, they're going to accelerate. So the closer they are to the end, the older they are, the more likely they are to get more money every distribution. So does that help?
Yeah, well, I've referred to it as it's really more like a logarithmic progression, right? And so every cycle, again, I keep emphasizing that the distribution cycles themselves act like a clock that clocks everything forward. Everything is synchronized in time to the distribution cycle. And so each cycle that occurs, the packs starting from the oldest first move forward, and each time they get a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more as they move towards completion. Well, the next area, unless we have any other questions that you think we might have omitted with regard to the completion and the speed of completion, because that was certainly on the top of most everyone's list, and that's why we wanted to talk about it first. Well, that was the reason why we're trying to explain it a little more, and we're also trying to give the members a little more detail into the underlying mechanics. It's different. If you're a member, then you see the pack. You can only make judgments and things based upon your own single account, whereas we're looking at things from a global perspective, and so we're trying to share some of that information.
Yeah. By the way, we've completed over $6 million worth of business packs. Yeah. The newest packs are going to take 2 or 3 days before they actually see any earnings coming into them. And of course, again, it goes back to the same reasoning as we talked earlier. It depends on the volume of sales coming in, and how far we can make a distribution reach is from the oldest to the newest. So it's not uncommon for I know it's gone as many as 4 days. Usually, what happens is it'll go in the queue, particularly on new pack where they just like the sets. They're obviously qualified immediately, so they're in queue immediately. And the next time we run a distribution, they will become active. Okay, but we may not have enough money to reach to that pack for 2 or 3 days. We need to build it up, and that's what I was referring to about the reselling. The repurchasing. Really is what extends into the newest packs. We need those repurchases. We need the old packs to finish, create new packs and repurchase packs, and then that money can reach farther through the system.
Okay, so the next area that we had a lot of questions, and we've kind of consolidated into a group that have to do with the ad campaigns, the control of the campaigns, additional campaigns and traffic types, and options along those lines. So I'm going to pass this over to Harry because, and I'll probably have some comments to add on there because. This is also a very important aspect of the business and one that we want to expand upon a great deal, actually. And it also has is a key element in ultimately the long-term sustainability of Bank on Traffic as a business. So go ahead, Harry.
Well, as far as the campaign controls, we are working with the traffic networks, trying to improve the API systems. I know that the primary one we're using right now, we're very close to being able to make it so that members can have more control over their campaign, even to the point of canceling it. That's going to be built into version 2, and it may actually be part of, the end part of version 1, because we are working on that now. We may have some answers to that within the next, week or two. I'm also negotiating right now with a couple other major networks for different kinds of products. One of them is, and I'm very intrigued by this, and this is video viewers. For YouTube views, MySpace, anywhere where you have hosting of videos, to be able to actually drive visitors to those videos. One of our weak spots in the system, the people that we're using right now, is that they don't allow sound, and the reason they don't is because these are pop-unders. So it's the host of the website that this pops under, they don't want to have sound playing in the background, so that's obvious. However, there are networks that are specific for sound, and that's another one that I'm working on right now. So if we can make the arrangements and get decent pricing, we will be expanding those things, and we will be. The one thing that I like about the people that I'm talking to right now is that they are willing to open up their servers to us and allow us to write the APIs. See, the problem that we have with most of the networks that deliver traffic is that they're not geared for the volume of business that we're giving them. So, and we can't do all this manually. Right now, a lot of our problems are because the campaigns are created manually. We've automated the account process, creating the account at the traffic site, but we haven't been able to automate the campaign control, and that should be doable. So, and particularly by the time we have version 2 out here, we're going to have some fairly sophisticated platform for the members to have way more control and also a more variety of the type of traffic that they want to use. Somebody mentioned about email, what do you call it? Email blasts or email
campaign option. That was Barb.
Yeah. Well, that is, we actually have the rights to that right now with one of the networks. The problem is we haven't been able to incorporate it into an automated system, within our back office. So these are things that we're working on, and Joe will tell you. I mean, we have big plans, and we look at Bank on Traffic as a tool, and the tool to drive traffic and to drive business to particular places on the internet where we want them to go. And so we will continue to work on this.
Right. Bank on Traffic, just to follow up on that, the whole idea is that Bank on Traffic's model as it is today is really the springboard for something much larger and more significant in terms of a long-term proposal and a self-sustaining business for the membership. And the anchor pin of that concept is all around the having a broader range of traffic delivery options, whether it's email, whether it's videos, whether it's banner ads, to all different types of advertising possibilities. And we are incorporating into the development of version 2 the flexibility and the ability to add that, since that's one of our major objectives is to broaden that scope as broadly as possible. As Harry pointed out, the challenge here is that so many of the networks and the traffic, raw traffic providers, they simply have no APIs, interfaces, whatever you want to call them, to integrate with a system like ours. And so that's one area of our development team that is working on that, and we have been receiving initially very, very positive responses from the networks, who are also very much interested in doing business with Bank on Traffic and delivering, and as a traffic delivery vehicle. So this is a very, very important aspect of our business model, and more particularly our growth plan, which is oriented around the traffic and the advertising delivery mechanisms and the all of the different possibilities that surround that. So if we don't have any more questions, I'm scanning through here. I think we kind of covered it. My main thing was to emphasize there's two parts to that point in summary. One is the control of the campaigns, and as Harry pointed out, most certainly the members will have a great deal more control, mostly once version 2 is released, because it does involve some advanced development with regard to interfacing to the providers' networks. But that is, of course, number one. And then number two is, in the long run, adding the different types of traffic products and broadening the scope of deployment there is also a key aspect of our growth, and ultimately the long-term sustainability of Bank on Traffic. So the next area, which had a lot of questions and is sort of a touchy area for us because it's been a little bit frustrating for a number of different reasons, and I know that you've heard, the membership has heard, a lot of our key players have heard different things, but this is pertaining to the marketing and the training tools, and there were a lot of questions from a lot of members that are regarding this very aspect. So, Harry, you want to take the first stab at dealing with the marketing questions?
Not really.
No?
Oh yeah, like you said, this is a sore spot with me. We've been working with a couple other groups and people to try to get some of this stuff done, and we're just not having a whole lot of luck. I need probably another few days here to see if I can push this thing along, and if I can't, then we're going to have to take some other action. We've been waiting too long for results that we haven't received.
So the bottom line is that we do understand the frustration, and we also are equally as frustrated because we also recognize how critical this is to the continued success of the company. And this is, perhaps from a business standpoint, is the number one priority for us. We have a development team in Europe that is working on this, although communications have been a little sketchy, and we're not exact. It's been very difficult for us to pinpoint when these things are going to be available to the members. But I can assure you of one thing, and that is that we will be taking some decisions here within the next few days, and we expect to be able to have some tangible results with regard to the marketing effort in general and marketing tools more specifically before the end of this month, one way or the other. We do not have an official launch date, but I would be hesitant at this point to plant a date in anyone's mind. We hope to be into an alpha or beta stage perhaps before the year is out. Certainly it won't be full production until probably the beginning of the year.
But there'll be some improvements though along the way. There are some things we're not going to wait for version 2.
Yeah, there are some, definitely. That's a good point, Harry. There are definitely some, particularly anything that's related to marketing, anything that we can do with regard to campaign controls, et cetera, as we just discussed. We will implement them on the current version 1 system. But we're not going to hold up those items for version 2. But so you will see improvements in a number of areas. You'll continue to see those improvements as we move towards opening up version 2. There'll be a migration period at some point where the entire membership database will migrate into version 2 once the beta test period is completed.
We have a total paid members at this point, 6,634.
And the total membership
is 10,037.
A pop-under is basically a website will host the traffic. And when somebody goes to that website, and it's usually search engine or niche-based, and you can drill down into targets like that. And that particular website that matches that target, when somebody goes to that site, your ad, your URL will come up underneath that in a new window underneath that website. So that when they close that website down, your ad or your website is there for them to see. So that's what a pop-under is.
Well, this falls under the marketing and training tools, and these are probably some of the very first things that will be produced. I think I understand clearly what she's looking for. In fact, Heidi and I were talking the other day about how we need to. We do have the ability to start producing some of these in a simple way, and we are going to be addressing that.
Yeah, this is a case where we're waiting for professionals to do this stuff for us, and it's just not getting done.
Payment processors is the category. And I know there's been a lot of questions about whether we'll be adding more and what's going on. The short answer is most definitely. We are actively working with a number of different payment processors, e-wallets, and so forth. Our objective here is to add as many as appropriate. We are finding, however, that this is something that has to be sort of handled on a regional basis, in the sense that you have one that's perfect for the United States and then people that have accounts in the United States, but it doesn't do anything for people. and so we're trying to get the right types of relationships together, and but we do understand the importance of it, the need to do it. We are actively working on this, and I don't know, Harry, did you have anything to add there?
Yeah, actually, I do. One of the problems that we have, we could process credit cards through STP if we wanted to, but they're very expensive. But the problem we have with that is that when people use a credit card and they don't have an STP or a Payza account, we have no way to pay them. So I've been concentrating here on trying to get payment processors. I've gotten a lot of good suggestions from you guys. I'm pursuing Payoneer, and I'm pursuing one here in the U.S. that specializes in ACH transactions and will allow us to do up to 2,000 at a time. See, that's the problem. Our bank accounts, we can do ACH transactions, but they're all manual. We just can't. When we're doing 300 and 400 transactions a week, we can't do them manually. So we've got to find people, and I have one, and I'm looking at it right now, and I'm going to put an application in on Monday to see if we can get this payment processor to work with us, and that would give at least the one in the U.S. In other words, you have to have a U.S. bank account to use the ACH function. But Payoneer, I'm pretty sure, is international, and I think they do ACH or similar type transactions internationally. So this is one area where I want to be able to make it so that it's easier for us to pay people when they have money due them, and it's easy for them to get it out. So and by doing that, it allows us then to open up the credit card functions, because now we don't have to be concerned about people paying for product and having it cap out and not being able to get the money out. Yeah, I don't really see us doing that. But what we do allow, we allow members to take their withdrawals to whatever account they want to take it to. So we have a number of people, and there are a couple countries that, for Germany, for instance, we can't, for some reason, Payza won't allow us to send money to Germany, while the people in Germany can send money to us. So that's a situation, and so we allowed them to send it to another friend of theirs. So that's one way to address that. Well, yeah, I understand that point, but I think it goes way beyond that. I think it goes into the Federal Reserve holding their gold and refusing to return it to them until 2020. So there's a lot more involved in that, I think. So, but anyway, the case being that we do allow you to choose where you want to send the money, and so if you don't have an account but you have a friend that has an account, you can send it there, and we're fine with that, as long as you agree to it and take responsibility for it. Oh, that's interesting.
We've never thought about that.
Well, the problem I see with that, the negative side of that, of course, is that there's no money there.
Right.
And our system would accept that as a paid business pack and would distribute the funds for it. So that would be one problem with it. Yeah, see, that's an issue. One of the reasons that we're a little bit behind the curve on this is that, I don't know if you remember this, but we had a lot of credit card fraud. And we had, when it all was said and done, and I ran the reports on that, we lost $116,000 in reverse charges that we paid for. We made distributions for that money. So that put us a little bit behind the curve, too. So, those issues are behind us now, but it still had an impact. $116,000 is not an easy amount to make up.
Well, that pretty much summarizes all the primary categories of questions that we received, I believe. I think there were a few that stuck out a little bit, and I thought, let me just scan through this here. Barb had a question, Harry, and I'm not putting you on the spot here, but I think in light of what we're trying to promote in terms of long-term growth, and where the the self-sustainability and long-term growth model ultimately leads. Barb has a question about would we consider adding more campaigns per person per account?
Yeah, that's kind of an arbitrary decision that we made to limit those. And I've had some arguments that, in fact, I think even Mark had made the argument, why do we limit it at all? Why do we care? Well, it's just a workload issue. So if we can get this stuff automated, I would be more than willing to open it up and maybe not even have a limit.
I think the suggestion here, though, is about, for example, if I'm a member and my name is Joe, why couldn't I have 15 campaigns or 20? I mean, my position here, and Harry and I have been discussing this at length over the last few days as we've been working out the, sort of the long-term developmental strategy that we are putting in place for the company. I think that there's that the secret for long-term success here and for sustainability in general, okay, as a self-sustaining business that is not so dependent upon new cash coming in as a result of new members signing up, is it lies in the advertising traffic. And so, my personal opinion is that we should promote the use of the traffic as much and promote it and encourage it as much as possible. And so therefore I'm in favor. I understand, some of our logistical troubles, but I'm also going on the premise here that our logistical problems are going to be resolved in the short term to where a lot of these processes can be completely automated or nearly completely automated. And at that point, I'm very much in favor of not restricting the member to a particular number of campaigns within, practical limits, of course. In other words, if you have 15 different websites you want to drive traffic to, you would set up 15 different campaigns. Right now, we're restricting that. We're limiting that, okay? And it's for very practical reasons. It's not because we have any other, operational reason or anything else to put those limits on there. And I think that looking at our current business model the way it is, and looking at the amount of traffic that is sold versus the amount of traffic that is actually used, there's a pretty big disparagement there. And so that ultimately, if you want to look at Bank on Traffic as a long-term business and a self-sustaining business, then that is an aspect that needs to be addressed for a number of different reasons.
There are a lot of people who are working affiliate programs that the real purpose of Bank on Traffic is to be able to build your internet business. So I'm fully engaged in having almost unlimited. If you have 1 million units of traffic and you want to do 20 campaigns, you should be able to do that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That subject is totally overlooked. And how much free traffic have we generated? It's not technically free, but it's additional traffic that we've generated through the process of tapping these business packs and generating new packs and new traffic.
Right. Well, Bank on Traffic is not. We're not going down that road, and we don't want to go down that road because all programs like that have, and I would venture to say that Bank on Traffic, just looking in a narrow scope at the current business model without taking into consideration any of these other aspects that we've been discussing here this afternoon, it will also have a finite life cycle, right? Because you grow to a certain point, you reach a plateau, and and at that point, where do you go from there, right? We don't want, and we don't envision, and this kind of leads to the final section of the list of categories that I added, which was the forward-looking aspects of Bank on Traffic. And there were a lot of questions. There were several questions asking, where do we see ourselves in the future, or where are we planning to go with Bank on Traffic? What are the longevity plans? I think we touched on some of these subjects earlier in the conversation, but to summarize, I think that we are viewing Bank on Traffic as we're early on in its initial development cycle or development phase, but that ultimately it will reach a point where it will sort of morph into something much different. Still oriented around internet advertising, traffic, etc., but I think the whole notion of additional products, traffic types, perhaps secondary marketplaces. We've even talked about traffic exchanges, etc., and product sales themselves. We really see that there are a number of different, almost limitless possibilities where we could take this, using Bank on Traffic's primary model right now as a springboard to launch this to the next level over the next year or two. Certainly our objectives and our plans are long term. We don't see this as a 2-year or 3-year or 4-year thing and then we're done. We want to build this into a real business that has self-sustainability and that has good long-term potential for all of the members. And I think Harry characterized it best when he said that he looks at, we look at Bank on Traffic as a tool. And this is directly related to what we're talking about, in terms of campaigns to promote business and the secondary traffic that's generated, et cetera, et cetera. We just have to see, and these are all, very general concepts, I know, but we are focusing a great deal of effort into developing these ideas. And I think it's important that the members understand that we do not pretend to be some type of get-rich-quick scheme. We're not in the fast cash internet business. We're building a real business that has long-term growth potential. And there will be some 1, 2, 3 cycles of evolution, if you will, as we move forward. Right now, of course, our focus is on what's needed to build the primary business model to a very robust and vibrant online business, because that is what will lead us up into the next level.
Well, there is no business without the affiliates.
Hey, Deb, are you on there?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay, good. Hey, yes, I bought Bank on Traffic on the very first day. I was going on a cruise, and I was scared to death that there was going to be a delay, and I wasn't going to get to join. But it opened up, and I got to join, and I had a very good sponsor. She took care of my account while I was gone, and I was so relieved when I come home. I was so happy when I seen how well the account was going. I was just like ecstatic. So, of course, I went out there and I started recruiting, and I got two people recruited right off. I mean, they just joined, and I thought, well, that's cool. I work 8 hours a day, and I don't really have a lot of time. So I was so happy to get 2 people. Well, then I thought, well, I'll let my accounts grow. And as they grew, I thought, well, I'm going to go test this out. I'm going to see. I'm going to start taking some money out. And everybody in the rooms know that, for 5 or 6 weeks, every week I withdrew money. And it was just like, bam, every week, right on time, I got paid. And I was like, this is so cool. So then I decided again, I'm going to let my accounts grow because I don't want to take all my money out. I want to get my account bigger. And I thought, well, I need, to start recruiting again. So I got another person, and then I've gotten 2 more since then. And like I said, I work 8 hours a day, and I really don't have a lot of time to put into it. But I think getting 5 people for me, and I've even had some health problems in my family that's really affecting me now, but I still work on it, and I'm so happy with BOT. I can't express, the fact that when they finish up and I see the credits that I have from just the 5 people that I have under me, I'm like, I don't have to take money out of my earnings to buy traffic. It's there. It's waiting on me. And I have not bought very many traffic packs because of the credits that I'm earning from the people that are underneath me. So people, you really need to get out there and try to get you some referrals underneath you, because you won't believe how it helps your account. And I can't stress that enough. I mean, I'm really, really a happy camper here. And I thank Harry and Joe for Bank on Traffic from the bottom of my heart.
Heidi has told me much about her, and I really, really appreciate you as a member. We all do, and thank you for the vote of confidence.
Thank you.
Can I address Deb quick? Yeah, let me address Deb.
Yes.
You're the reason that I did this.
I'm so thankful.
We have a handful
story.
of, we have quite a few stars, I would say, that really have a good handle on this business and have really put effort and time and money into it, and that is why we did it. That is true. That's why we're all here, and that's also kind of proves the point that this is not just a buy a business pack, sign up, sit back, and let your account grow, and the whole notion of passive income, right? So I really do appreciate Deb for bringing that point to light.
I'm not inclined to do that because it's very simple. If you have family members, you can have an account for a family member. I'm really a stickler for this one account, one human being. Actually, that process that is going to level out this curve and start us moving in the other direction. Because as you roll up those 3, you have a real incentive to roll up those 3, and that removes them from the starter pool. So as that's happening, I see, and that's one of the reasons why the numbers go down on a daily basis on how many packs there are that have to be completed, because they are being rolled up. Now, obviously, that pushes it up to the basic pack, and they have to finish as well. But still, the majority of our business has been in the starter pack. So if we can level those off, we will be a long way towards having a more viable time frame that people will be more inclined to agree with.
Yeah, it's also illustrative. That very fact alone is, and this is one of the challenging things for us, is to explain to people all of these intricacies, these variables that go into this, and this is a perfect example.
And that's why there are qualifying limits and allotments.
Right.
Well, we have a problem with that, and I'm thinking about it. But we have a limit of 5,000 visitors on any campaign, so the numbers don't work out quite as well. And plus, the fact that it would have to be an odd amount, because it has to be in 3s, or it throws off the whole model. So, but we may come up with something. We may come up with something that with one of these other products, maybe a different business pack for a different product that might be smaller.
Yeah, well, what we've talked about with regard to other products, like take banners, there would be. We have been playing with some of the math involved with ratios. Okay, 3 banners to 1 pop-up, just to throw something arbitrarily out there, something of that nature. I think that's where we might see the potential for something, of a smaller purchase amount. Well, I really appreciate, this is Joe, and I really appreciate everyone who filled out a questionnaire and who communicated their thoughts and their comments and remarks on the business and shared the conference call today. You guys really do make this business, and we appreciate your membership and your participation, and we look forward to a long-standing and growing relationship for our mutual benefit. Thank you very much.
I couldn't say it any better.